South Africa is home to many breathtaking landscapes and rich history, but it also harbors some of the most chilling and mysterious haunted cemeteries. From ancient graveyards that echo with the whispers of the past to restless spirits roaming the night, these top 10 haunted cemeteries are places where the dead refuse to rest. If you dare, here are the eerie burial grounds that will send shivers down your spine. 1. West Park Cemetery, Johannesburg. They say when the sun dips behind the city skyline and the last mourner leaves, West Park Cemetery comes alive with things the living were never meant to see. Tucked deep in Johannesburg, this sprawling graveyard holds more than just bones. It keeps secrets. Gravediggers have spoken in hushed voices about a woman in white, often seen gliding silently between headstones, her dress trailing like mist on the wind. Some say she's mourning a lost lover. Others whisper that she was buried alive, and her soul never found rest. Cold spots appear without warning. Electronics die without reason. And if you listen closely in the dead of night, you might hear faint weeping or the crunch of gravel beneath unseen feet. It's a place where silence carries weight and where shadows don't always wait for the dark. If you dare to visit West Park after sunset, don't go alone. And whatever you do, don't follow the woman in white. No one who has chased her has ever come back the same. 2. Avalon Cemetery, Soweto, Johannesburg. Deep in the heart of Soweto lies Avalon Cemetery, one of South Africa's largest burial grounds, and perhaps one of its most restless. By day, it stands as a solemn monument to history, holding the graves of political icons, freedom fighters, and thousands of ordinary souls. But by night, Avalon becomes something far more sinister. Locals whisper of ghostly chants echoing through the grave-lined paths, as if unseen mourners are holding eternal vigils. Security guards have reported sightings of a faceless man in a long coat, silently wandering the grounds before vanishing into thin air. Others speak of an invisible presence that walks beside you, matching your footsteps, breathing behind your ear. The most terrifying tale comes from the forgotten section, where unmarked graves lie scattered. Here, visitors claim to hear cries of anguish rising from the earth itself, especially during thunderstorms. Paranormal investigators say the energy in Avalon is dense, thick with unresolved pain, protest, and power. This isn't just a cemetery, it's a place where spirits demand to be remembered. Enter Avalon after dark, and you may walk among the ghosts of South Africa's past, whether you realize it or not. 3. Maitland Cemetery, Cape Town. Nestled in the shadow of Table Mountain, Maitland Cemetery is one of Cape Town's oldest and most haunted burial grounds. But age is not what makes it terrifying. It's what hides in its history. As fog rolls in from the coast, the rows of crumbling headstones seem to blur, and many believe that's when the Lady of Maitland appears. Dressed in a tattered Victorian gown, she's been seen wandering aimlessly between the graves, her face pale, her eyes hollow. Some say she's searching for her child, lost to illness over 100 years ago. Others claim she's luring the living to join her. Paranormal investigators have recorded sudden drops in temperature, distorted voices on audio devices, and even disembodied screams that pierce the night air. Locals avoid the cemetery after dark, warning that those who mock the dead or step off the main path sometimes vanish or return changed. Maitland is no ordinary graveyard. It's a place where the past refuses to stay buried and where the dead still reach out from the shadows. 4. The Brook Street Cemetery, Durban. Hidden beneath the noise of modern Durban lies a place frozen in time, the Brook Street Cemetery, where the air hangs heavy with the weight of forgotten souls. It's one of the city's oldest graveyards, dating back to the early 1800s. and it has seen more than just burials. Visitors report hearing footsteps crunching on gravel, even when the cemetery is empty. Some speak of a man in a dark coat, his face always obscured, who appears near the tombs and disappears before anyone can approach. Security guards have refused to work the night shift after seeing figures move between the headstones, only to vanish into thin air. Most chilling of all is the tale of the crying woman, heard weeping softly near a broken headstone, said to belong to a widow buried alive, mistaken for dead, her nails found clawed against the inside of her coffin. The cemetery feels alive, but not in any way that brings comfort. Time stands still here, and the boundary between the living and the dead wears thin. If you find yourself drawn to Brook Street after dark, listen closely and pray the voices you hear aren't calling your name. 5. St. John's Church Cemetery, Wynberg, Cape Town. Tucked behind the ivy-covered walls of an old Anglican church in Wynberg lies St. John's Church Cemetery, a seemingly peaceful place until the sun goes down. By daylight, it's quiet and still, but at night, the cemetery tells a different story. Locals have long whispered about the ghostly march of colonial soldiers, their boots echoing on the stone paths as if reliving battles long since lost. Some say they're trapped in an endless loop, doomed to patrol sacred ground they once defended. But the most haunting presence is that of a little girl in a blue dress, often seen standing near a moss-covered grave beneath a twisted tree. She never speaks, she just stares, with wide, empty eyes that follow you as you move. A chill clings to the air around her, and those who get too close have reported feelings of overwhelming sorrow, or even temporary memory loss. Flickering lanterns and shadowy figures are common, but vanish the moment a light is shown their way. St. John's is no place for the curious or the reckless. Here, the past is not at rest. It walks among the graves, waiting to be noticed. 6. Klip Road Cemetery, Grassy Park, Cape Town. On the outskirts of Grassy Park lies Klip Road Cemetery, a quiet, unassuming graveyard by day, but by night, it becomes something else entirely. Locals call it the watching ground, and for good reason. Visitors who've wandered through its narrow, uneven paths after dark often speak of a disturbing sensation, the feeling of being watched from all sides, though no one is ever there. Some have seen fleeting shadows dart between the gravestones, always just out of reach. Others report unexplained whispers, voices in languages long forgotten, carried on a wind that never touches the trees. One of the most chilling stories is that of a grave said to be cursed, marked only with a cracked, nameless stone. Anyone who steps on it is said to suffer vivid nightmares and bouts of unexplained paranoia for days afterward. Even security patrols avoid this cemetery at night, leaving it to whatever unseen forces roam its grounds. Klip Road Cemetery may not be famous, but those who know it understand. This is not just a place for the dead. It's a place where something ancient and perhaps angry still lingers, watching, waiting, and never sleeping. 7. South End Cemetery, Port Elizabeth. Overlooking the restless ocean in Port Elizabeth, South End Cemetery is more than a burial ground. It's a place haunted by history and sorrow. During apartheid, families were torn from this land, their homes demolished, their graves left behind. But some spirits, it seems, never left. At night, the cemetery is cloaked in an unnatural stillness. Locals tell of shadowy figures that drift between the gravestones, especially near the older sections where names have been worn away by time. Security cameras have picked up flickering movements, impossible to explain, and guards have quit after hearing voices calling their names when no one else was there. One chilling tale speaks of a young man in old-fashioned clothing, seen kneeling at a grave, weeping silently. When approached, he vanishes into the mist. Paranormal investigators say the area is heavy with spiritual residue. echoing the pain of those who were displaced and forgotten. South End Cemetery isn't just haunted. It's a scar, a wound that never fully healed. And if you stay too long, you might find the past reaching out to take hold of you and never letting go. 8. Pretoria East Cemetery. Pretoria. Tucked away in the quiet suburbs of South Africa's capital, Pretoria, East Cemetery seems peaceful. Orderly rows of gravestones beneath tall, swaying trees. But beneath that calm exterior lies something far more unsettling. Visitors have long reported strange occurrences. Sudden gusts of cold wind on still days, flowers wilting within hours of being placed, and worst of all, the soft sound of someone breathing behind you when no one's there. The most persistent legend tells of a veil-faced woman dressed in black, seen standing by a child's grave. She never moves, never speaks, just watches, unmoving, until she slowly fades into thin air. Gravekeepers speak of footsteps that circle them, growing louder with every round before vanishing into silence. Even electronics tend to malfunction here. Phones lose battery, cameras refuse to focus. Locals believe the cemetery is cursed by an old spirit bound to the land, angered by the graves that were disturbed during a forgotten relocation. Pretoria East Cemetery is not loud with horror, but it's in the quiet moments that fear creeps in. And when you're alone among the dead, it's easy to wonder, are you really alone at all? 9. Robben Island Cemetery. Robben Island. On the infamous Robben Island, where history and hardship intertwine, lies Robben Island Cemetery, a place that holds the memories of lives lost, both known and unknown. It is here, on this desolate island surrounded by cold, unforgiving waters, that the spirits of the past are said to linger. The island, once home to political prisoners and a site of immense suffering, has a dark energy that visitors can feel the moment they step onto its soil. The cemetery is small, marked only by simple, weathered gravestones, some unmarked, some with names erased by time. Ghostly figures are often spotted near the graves, particularly those of the prisoners who died under harsh conditions. Tour guides speak of unseen hands brushing against their arms and unexplained cold spots that seem to follow visitors. The most unsettling tale is of a shadowy figure seen near the grave of a man who died mysteriously, with reports claiming he still roams the island at night, reliving his last moments. On Robben Island, the dead refuse to rest, their memories and their pain etched into the land itself. The wind whispers of their struggles, and the island keeps their secrets alive and never forgotten. 10. Ferndale Cemetery, Bryanston. Nestled in the quiet suburbs of Bryanston, Ferndale Cemetery is a place that holds more than just the remains of the departed. As dusk falls, this peaceful cemetery transforms, and an eerie presence seems to settle over the grounds. Visitors have long reported strange phenomena, the unmistakable sound of footsteps echoing on the gravel paths when no one is around, and a strange, oppressive silence that falls over the area as the sun sets. The most chilling story surrounds an unmarked grave, said to belong to a young woman who tragically died in a car accident. Those brave enough to approach it claim to feel a sudden drop in temperature, and some even say they've seen her pale figure walking between the tombstones, searching for something or someone. Even more unsettling are the glowing lights that appear on the cemetery's edges at night, dancing along the graves and vanishing before anyone can get close. Ferndale Cemetery might seem calm by day, but as night falls, it reveals a darker side, one where the past refuses to stay buried. For those who dare to visit, it's a place where the living might find themselves lingering far longer than they intended, and the dead might never let them leave. Whether it's the soft rustle of unseen footsteps or the chilling appearance of ghostly figures, South Africa's haunted cemeteries offer an unsettling glimpse into the supernatural. These forgotten corners of the world remind us that the past never truly fades. It lingers, waiting to be discovered. Would you dare to visit?